So welcome everybody. The topic of today is, hi Raphael, hi Jeffrey, and see you. So the topic of today is basically to discuss together to define what could be a sort of guideline, sort of manifesto for Fab Labs interested in health and care solutions. So we really want to talk with you and see what could be important for you, collect all the feedbacks that we can get, map them, work together on defining what's important, what's not, to help people be aligned philosophically on what it means to develop a solution for health and care in Fab Labs. So today, 4 people will help managing the workshop. Adriana Cabrera, myself. I'm following the order in my in my screen. Emilio Velis and Daniel Veselak. I will ask him, all of the people, to introduce themselves. But basically, we come from different organizations with similar goals. And in common, we have the work of FabCare. And that's why we are here focusing on the manifesto of FabCare. So FabCare wants to be a group of people that help each other in defining and go over the challenges of designing solutions for health and care within Fab Labs. So if your lab is interested, we want to give you all the support we can to allow you to actually go on doing that. And a lot of questions are tough questions, so we are not going to be able to answer you right away. But that's why we want to create a page and share opinions, have a forum. So if someone has a doubt, you can actually share it with the community. And we are really at the beginning of creating this community. So if that's okay with you, I let the other co-hosts introduce the workshop. And maybe Adriana or I, if you prefer, can start to give a brief presentation about what FabCare is. And Emilio will add some notes on Apopedia that is actually the main project he is working on. It's not the only one, as maybe many of you already knows, is working on 1,000 things, but that project is the one that resonates maybe the most with FabCare. So thanks for joining in. We'll have a very brief introduction just so we are all aligned, and then we move to a practical session in which we can be more productive on this objective. Adriana, you want to?
Yes, so I think, hello everyone, and thank you for joining this session. I know that that's a little bit, all are in the mood of vacations maybe. And so after this event, we had this opportunity to join us. We have 2 sessions. That is the FabCare Manifesto, and the tomorrow session that is about the FabCare meetup. As Enrico says, we as group are working together in the area of, let's say, Fab Labs and healthcare, and working in a similar project with people with disabilities that would start also Enrico to tell a little bit more. But the initial idea is that we use this time to work together as, let's say, it's an initiative made from us, also for us to contribute all together in these practices, and that we can take advantage of the community and see how we could create, let's say, new ideas or share experience, and see how we could also as a community grow. Yeah, so I think that that's from my side. Today's goal is to work in our manifesto, that we will give you a little bit more introduction afterwards, and we will work with mural. That should be also an interactive session. And it would be nice that we try to take this as experience, as if we heard more about you and us, that will be a very rich also meeting in which I hope all of us can contribute. That's it.
So I can briefly share my screen, and the presentation will go super fast through this. It's just not the main objective here, but I really want you to just have an idea. So FabCare wants to be a global initiative that helps labs worldwide to bring to reality personalized solutions. We started with people with disability, because that was the goal we had before the COVID crisis. And then we realized it's not just disability, it's really the healthcare system that must be rethought. And these solutions are personalized. They could help people to have a better quality of life. And we call these solutions careables, so objects that take cares of people. And the name comes from a European project, and Daniel represents one of the partner. I'm coordinating Open is another partner in the project, and I hope Daniel can tell us a bit more in a second. And you can already find online a lot of these solutions, and we just want to map them, share them better, document them better, and make them available. We realize that it's not just about the solutions, it's also explaining to labs how to create these solutions. It's not a technical issue very often, it's more how to get in contact with the communities that could need the solution, create a positive dialogue with people, and so on. So we really want to share this kind of knowledge if you're interested in. So this is Open As I said quickly, we did a lot of things during the last 5 years with people with disability, from object for kids to applications, or from completely physical objects to completely digital objects, collecting data to measure the progress of the people during the therapy. This object, is actually a video game that uses eye tracking to allow kids that are not capable of controlling their hands to play and interact. It's open source, available to everybody. We are closing it soon and releasing it. And we help doctors as well to bring on more medical-oriented solutions. So completely different challenge, completely different environments. It's just to prove how much can be done in the sector of health and care when you bring digital fabrication and a method to deal with different people. So as FabLab, as community, we could really have a huge impact on this. I let Adriana explain a bit about her background. Still muted.
So I have always this issue. Okay, so yeah, I am working in Matrix. There is a company that also focuses on social innovation, and where I am working now as a senior consultant. So we are next one. So I always tell this, but because I feel like that's also an important impact of the community, I start doing my project of Fab Academy, designing an orthotics and working with a patient, also with orthopedic, let's say, companies that are working designing these orthotics or these devices, in which in that time was no solution for him. And therefore, I saw a big potential in the Fab Lab, how we could do, or actually, like, let's say, embed or create devices or co-create devices with people with disabilities that didn't exist in that time, and also cooperate with directly with patients. So afterwards, I had the opportunity to work in projects, as for example, this one. There is especially made for people who wants, for people with disabilities, involving data and integrate them in work scenarios. So if you go to the next one, or for example, another point or aspect, as Enrico says, is not only about creating a device, but also understanding how we could create workflows that are easy to understand for other people, as for example, not only for patients, but also for helping the healthcare field in hospitals, for example, or for other areas that it also needs these technologies. So that it's another project that make Coperix, and then this focus is also something that we explore in curriculum. So maybe for people who knows the Fab Academy, the first Fab Academy that we launched in Fab Lab Camplin for, we had the focus on fabrication for care, and also understanding a little bit more the challenges of biomechanics. We developed this program that we call Biomecademy as all the academies. So yeah, that was another, sorry. Sorry. And the next one, so there are several activities that we are doing, as for example, working with the senior people, with elder people, and also making small activities, as for example hackathons, but special for disabilities. So I think that there is some activities in common that we are doing. And yeah, the next one is the meeting that we have last year in Egypt. That is actually the working group of assistive devices, in which we saw that there are many other projects that are very interesting to share, and that's some of the labs that work together or they attend also in these meetings. I have to say also that I am very happy what we achieved also this year. For example, in the last year, we had the idea of a challenge in which, for example, this year we could launch this with help of the Fab Foundation and with the SOLVE system to do this challenge, the COVID Innovation Award, that I think that one of the winners is also in the group. Maybe if you want to shortly tell a little bit about your project, that could be also a good opportunity. So if you go to the next slide, so we have this group, the FabCare is an organization in the Wikifactory in which they are open, that you post also questions in the forum or document your projects, or also even tell a little bit of your stories. So yeah, that's it for our side.
Thank you. Daniel, do you want to introduce yourself?
You hear me already? Yeah, no. Yeah, we're like at a university at the moment at Void. Like I'm an interaction designer, and we're currently doing like a third version of like the Open Health Academy. What's also around the same topic. So together with, at this time, a lot of like people in wheelchairs, we develop solutions with designers and technical people together. And this time is the first time where we also through COVID-19 like do the format in like a digital and analog way. So most of the start was like digital, and now that's why we have this like setup right now with like the microphone and so on. Because it's also really interesting to see how can you make people work together in physical spaces and virtual spaces at the same time, and how do you keep like a connection that's actually meaningful. Yeah. So maybe that briefly from my side for now.
Thank you. So that's it. Our objective was to give you a brief overview. I've asked Emilio to introduce yourself as well, and then we move to the practical.
Perfect. Hold on. Sharing my screen. for this session, I wanted to bring up the subject of appropriateness, and what you see on the screen is a bunch of projects that were presented as part of a paper that on the past few months of all the open hardware projects that have been happening all over the world in terms of attention to COVID-19. And I want to contrast this as an expectation and reality to what you have also seen in other parts of the internet, where people are using materials that they have at hand that are not the best. And it is because there's a need that has to be solved. And the question of all these initiatives is, how do we bring what people need in the way that they need it? And that is, in very short, what appropriateness means, and that is what Appropedia is focused on. We are a wiki that has been around for about 50 years. We have 8,000 articles, out of which over 1,000 are devices, and many of them are related to healthcare. So in 2009, we developed a medical device compendium with different universities, and basically was just tagging different projects all over the world, and some of them documented on Appropedia. And then I want to show you, on Appropedia, we also have projects related to the Sustainable Development Goals. So in this case, I have filtered them by SDG number 3, which is for health. And you see a bunch of projects that are meant to be used in developing countries, in low-income contexts, using digital fabrication, using, in some cases, repurposed materials and other, ways on which we can bring technology for healthcare closer to people. So I wanted to show you this, to bring to attention what are the possibilities in creating a manifesto. And some of the things that we will be discussing have to do with the people that we will be designing for and people that we will be designing with, and the goals of a group that are trying to bring the use of digital fabrication for healthcare. So yeah, I leave you with that, and I think it's time to get to it.
Cool, thank you. So initially we were thinking about splitting up in groups. I'm wondering, do we want to make 2 groups maybe? Or Adriana, muted.
Yeah, we have around 15 people, let's say 12. So we can do or 2 groups or 3 groups with 4 people, like 4, yeah. So, yeah, I would suggest, so let's go for the alternative of 4 or 5 people.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that we have a small issue. Maybe Angela can also help us. I don't know how to do the breakout session. So wait, let me check. Yeah, I think that I have it. So 4 people.
Okay.
4 people, yeah? Sorry, okay. Breakout session, then let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
I will start this.
Perfect. So we break up. We use the mural app that you have in the link.
Oh, wait. Moment. Wait. Because I start the session, so we have to explain them.
Well, I guess Emilia knows how to deal with that. So
Yeah.
Emilia's here.
Because I stopped it. Wait.
Okay.
Then let's call everyone. You share the mural, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody should have in the chat the link to the mural. The last link I shared, you can open it. It's if you don't know what mural is, it's basically a shared blackboard, whiteboard, where you can take notes and everybody can see everybody else. So we can use that to go through some questions on which we'd like to hear your opinion. We split up in three sessions. What's going to be coordinated by Adriana, one by Emilio, and maybe me and Daniel, we can work together, or Daniel, if you want to work with Adriana, or Emilio. But anyway, we can split in three groups. Everybody can take notes, and then we join back together and see what are the topics that are more relevant, what you care about the most, who do you want to work with, what kind of benefits you think you can bring on the topic or you've done in the past. The objective is to define a manifesto, as we said. So a philosophical guideline for labs that wants to work in health and care. So that's it, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. So as Enrico says, recap. So we have this mural. So it's the thing is the whiteboard that I am sharing, and the idea is that in 4 people we will just try to answer these questions. We have also something like the Fab charter that we have also to keep in mind as a mission driver, and after we will just come back. And we will also share and make together the manifesto. Cool. So I will just stop sharing and go again to the breakout sessions. Yeah?
Cool.
So there is other questions?
Sorry?
Yeah?
Do each group use like one of this like black patches, like they can put up their sticky notes, like you can do that like that? Like on the first section, like there are like 3 parts, right? So like one group takes over, like they try to put up their ideas over on just one, using just one patch, something like that.
Emilio, you're muted.
Yes. So one group will go answering each of the questions, basically.
Okay.
And but after we're done, we can contribute to other parts. So because we have 4, right? So we have to also work on an extra one. So but yeah, let's focus on one so that we can fill out the whole board. And you have to think about things. For example, one question is about the why. Why FabCare is working. The other is who we will be working for and with, and what is the benefit, what will we create, and then finally, how do we create, what activities or what actions, what are the approaches that we will use. And the idea is basically to add the post-its and then to move from to the left, something that you can keep in mind, to a few that can be essential, maybe 1 or 2. The idea is to find collectively among the group which is the essential one that can define each of the horizontal lines or the questions.
Okay. So if you don't mind, we will go to the breakout rooms. We will have around 25 minutes, 30, in order to answer all questions in the groups. So I will just do it. Reminder that if you have 2 questions, just put in the chat rooms and we will try to support you. Okay? Cool. Then now. Yeah. Inga, you can just change, sure. And when you are again here, I will change, I will put you in a room, okay? So, um, okay, hello. Inger, you are in the group breakout session 2.
How do I join?
I think I already moved you. Nicht be,
I'm
I think
still
that you
here.
have to accept. Otherwise, look under, you have to have a button that says breakout session. You can just press it. Otherwise, I can, no, I cannot move it. Oh, nicht beeintragen. Oh, yeah.
All right, I told Adriana that we're here. She says she'll be right back. Let's see. There she is.
Okay.
Always, always.
Always, yeah. Sometimes it's because really it doesn't work, but this time is just my show, my fault. So yeah, I think that it was very nice discussion and also a question. So how far we want to go, and I think that when it's more question, it's also more interesting because it makes more reflection. So let's go for the whole map, and maybe we can the group of Emilio, because Emilio has to go. I don't know if Enrico is already here. Let's check. I think that maybe there
Yeah, you're here.
Perfect. So yeah, so we have to, let's say, do exercises now. So like the idea is that we can sort also the cards, but at the same time, I will ask Emilio maybe that your group starts maybe to present what you discuss in general, so like the main points. And Emilio said, and after we can continue maybe because you have to leave.
No, it was me who was muted. Yes. So our group worked on mostly two questions about the what and the how. Regarding the what, we talked about, hold on, about searchability, probably one of the most interesting. One was related to job and grant opportunities in the healthcare area. So how can FabCare serve the community by pointing makers to possible opportunities, and then how to collaborate with other groups? That was also interesting. How can we, let's say, democratizing science? I think it came up, and also about dissemination of knowledge. We talked a little bit about how FabCare can serve as a conduit between what makers are doing and the needs of the community. So you know, like, how can we invite makers in different places, in different countries, for example, to make things, and some other things related to research, evaluation. So yeah, that's mostly for the what, and then for the how. So many things, so many things. Let's see. So we talked about, for example, working with designers as part of an advice program, design challenges, workshops, like mostly it was focused on activities that we can work on with people from the community so that they can collaborate, focus on different subjects that are specific, creating a catalog of projects. And we talked a little bit about, for example, making a newsletter on which we can know what are the new devices that have been made by which Fab Labs, and help co-create with other labs in different areas if they want to, for example, replicate, to make sure that the solutions are very appropriate to the context. And some testing workshops, for example, for when makers may want to know if their projects are good enough, or if they're usable in different contexts. So yeah, that's basically, and then some other things related to certification, about standardization of processes for creating healthcare devices. That's it.
Oh,
Maybe could you hear me?
yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to say maybe some of you from the group, from Emilio, do you have some, now we just put all notice, do you want to add something, or maybe do you want to sort, let's say the post-its, what for you could be important or essential in the process, and what we could keep in mind? Maybe Angela or Inger.
Hi. Yes, we were talking that I think that of course, given the best practices or providing the best practices on the documentation is essential, and also this point of the grants and the jobs opportunities in the FabCare area, because there are many people desiring to work on that, and perhaps doesn't know about the opportunities. And I was talking in the group about the research, because I'm worked many times, for a long time with the blind people, and we have seen that the system, the Braille system, is the same as when he was invented, you know. So there is no much research in this area, and I think now with the FabLab tools and the digital tools, it's the time to review many things and to dedicate some time for that too in this area, I think, or in other areas that are needed too.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely a very important tool, and I think that as we did in the last days, also with several tools, as for example, where also the group of the Open Know-how or Abropedia is doing also careables. I think that that's a proof of concept that we how we could of course share the projects, but also understand the connection in between the ecosystem, the information. So especially through these challenges, for example, what we have in the pandemic. What do you think that we have to keep in mind? So what is, or let's say the others. Cool. So maybe, do you want to start, Enrico, to tell like a little bit, or not Enrico, but maybe one of the group that wants to start to tell a little bit about what happened?
Daniel, maybe?
Daniel.
I'm checking.
Daniel?
You're muted. I don't know if you're trying to speak, Daniel. You're muted.
Hi, I've been muted. Yeah, I don't know if I'm the best to summarize or something. But let's do it together, maybe.
Oh.
As a group, I think. But
I think that
Yeah, Daniel, go ahead.
Kumar.
Yeah. Digjoti, yeah. And maybe we can like do it just you can start, or like maybe like we have like Jeffrey also and Rico also, like we can like just add in points like one by one, like, once you say somebody starts.
Well, I would go quickly through the things. So without going through every single note, just to speed up a bit. But I would say that the definition of who we want to work with, it's quite nice in my opinion. So the objective that we are trying to achieve, it's really increasing the quality of life for everyone involved in the process. So part of the discussion that I think it was a nice point of view is that there is a huge category of people that wants to contribute to something meaningful, and maybe they don't know what that meaningful thing could be. And have the opportunity to work on something meaningful is an improvement for themselves as well. And that's an important key point from my perspective. Moving on, who we want to work with. There were two different points of view. One was to, let's say, open up as much as possible. So starting from, let's say, the most fragile categories, developing solutions that can be useful for others. So following the principle of universal design. And that also means that people that knows very well the needs that they have brings experience on possible solutions. So I think it's a good point also to explain that we are not just being nice and trying to help, you know, the fragile people, but it's a win-win situation. And on the other point, I think that a wider definition is that whoever can't be helped by the traditional healthcare system or healthcare structures. That could be because your disability is complex to solve. Let's say your problem is hard to tackle, or it's very rare. So there's not much out there that can help you. But also it could mean that you're coming from a community that is a bit isolated, where the healthcare system is a bit less present, where the solutions are not available or too expensive for your income. So saying that we want to work where the traditional healthcare system fails, I think that defines quite well our area. It also explains that we don't want to replicate things that already exist if we are not capable of making it better, more accessible, open source, cheaper, available for everybody, and so on. So I think that was a nice definition. And it was useful for me as well to see things from a different perspective, because we always thought that our main goal were people with disabilities, but in Open Dot. So it's not necessarily true looking at the discussion. So what the benefit that we can bring? There was an interesting point brought by Jeffrey that helping people with disabilities or in need might be also creating open source equipment for hospitals that don't have it. This became very noticeable during the COVID pandemic, but it's actually an interesting approach. It's not necessarily, again, working on a specific disability, but it's really working on the health and the care in general. So that was an interesting point in my opinion. I think some of the post-its has been moved, so I'm not sure anymore which one was what we spoke about. there was an interesting point about cooperating with different communities and be able to reach them. That is
Collaborate with external groups? That's...
I don't remember. It was, I think, from Kumar. Do you remember?
I think we wrote it down as the global community. Sorry?
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
also like have like more people from different domain, like if you're talking about healthcare, we should have like more doctors in the house. Doctors or like medical, like people like who are working with like sick people.
Definitely. So that was another interesting aspect and how to make it possible. There was already a lot here, so we wrote down something that we experienced directly. So for instance, it's very useful to work together with universities. We go back on the fact that the key point of our process is the need. So if we have a good need to start from, so something real, something that people have experience on, that they can guide designers and makers through finding the solutions, then it's quite likely we'll get to a final good project. Connected to this, another interesting point would be to organize the needs as well as the projects. So we tag projects, we categorize them, we divide them in a hierarchy or with a taxonomy, but we don't do the same kind of activity with needs. That would actually give us a lot of knowledge on where to do something. And of course, we worked quite a lot with co-design. So co-design could be a method to develop this. And another interesting aspect was, again, connected to certification and certification process. That sometimes is the main obstacles. Not necessary to become a startup or someone selling a medical device, but maybe just to be sure that we are doing no harm, that the solution we are giving is certified or tested somehow to be sure that that's not dangerous or harmful in any way. And they might be used in hospitals that require certifications as well, for instance. Kamar, that was one of your points, if I remember correctly. So if you have comments on this.
Yes. Also, like one was like find out existing solutions which are related to healthcare and map it in this main directory. So we're talking about like Open Bionics who are working with prosthetic arms. Like they have designed those open source designs, and like maybe we can just map like all this kind of like I believe like there will be like a lot of open source designs already somewhere like scattered out, and we can just like have a directory of all those solutions that are already there. So that will cut down the time of like actually redesigning all the solutions that are already there, and like spend maybe more time into understanding like if that thing can be done in a more better way, or like we need to actually like redesign the whole process.
I think that it's a very interesting point that also, unfortunately, Emilio is not here, but I think that that's also some work that is already, let's say, mapped through, let's say, the work of Careables, but also this part of, let's say, comparing and understanding, let's say, in a visualization, let's say, it's something that it could be also an interesting point also, how in order to then, let's say, not repeat or to, yeah. So we said in German, Doppelgemoppel. Yeah. So
Maybe it's
then,
a good thing. I'm just they're thinking about this mapping out the problem space or like collecting them and giving them a lot of like value also, because then it's also easier for other people to be like, oh, I know a solution that might fit that thing, and not the person that formulates the need has to like find it by themselves, but on then it's easier for anyone to actually bring these things together, and then one can say, like, could this work already, or and maybe no, like one would need to change certain things or something. I think it's also good for communicating with each other.
That's it on our side, I would say. So Adriana, if you want to.
I think that I would like to, that maybe some of my group, so I don't see, no, yeah, Cesar or maybe Camila or Rafael can also tell a little bit what we talk. So because otherwise I feel me like a little bit repeating and repeating.
Hello. Well, as a biomedical engineer, for me, the essential is not that much. It's very important to have a feedback from doctors, from the patient, and always make a state of the art of what is doing already. But this is important, very important to not damage.
Definitely.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that, yeah.
Co-creation is very important in this point. So we can work with our technical specialists, but we have medical point of view and the patient point of view.
Do you have any experience on this? Did you manage to involve doctors? How do you do that?
I have been working as a clinical engineer for the moment. So when we have to acquire new technology, we have a group with doctors, with engineers, with other specialists, so we can find the best solution, the new technology, or the which way will be the most comfort for the patient. So all of point of view are very important.
Have you done some project in particular? Do you want to share something? Even some links? It would be nice to.
Oh, for the moment, I just work in one prototype for a device that helps the user to maintain a good posture. But I'm still working in the prototype. But for this development, I have made a lot of investigation about normative, about what the specialist organizations say, and what is already in the market, what are the normative vision, and so on. But it's still in progress.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think that that's also very good. So we have a very nice discussion in between, also with the background of all participants, let's say, of the group. I think that if you have some links also to share, that it's for all of you, for Camila, of course, and also you are coming also from different parts of the world, that it's very interesting to understand where are you and how it's, let's say, your local ecosystem. To understand this is also very important. I will ask maybe the others, maybe Cesar, would you like also to tell a little bit what we talk during the...
Yeah, I think Camila covered up all the part with interaction, with co-designing with user. I think that was one of the key aspects we talked. Another, I'd say, related to Rafael and our own makespace was the universal access. How do we make sure that makerspaces and FabLab are spaces that can be accessed by everyone? I think it's quite interesting. I'm also sharing a couple of links of people we have worked before, either with institutions here, helps them on how to work with 3D printers and how to kind of customize the designs. And one of the things that I was saying just by the end of our session or our breakout group is, I think that something that you might need to consider regarding FabCares is mostly what out of the whole workflow, what part are you most interested in, or how do you build an ecosystem? And what is your role in this ecosystem? Do you plan to just customize and create things that can be made at Fab Labs, or do you want to focus on research and development and maybe contact companies that can produce them for you? Or I mean, because as Enrico said before, at the beginning, it was just FabCare to help people with disabilities, but now with COVID, I think the scope can be much more wider. So you can be either focusing on serving the needs of this or need of care, and maybe, at least in our experience in Spain, the fastest way to do that is contacting some companies to mass produce. But is that the goal of FabCares? Other groups, for example, in our country have said, we are just going to release the design in the open and go up to the certification process, and then any company can produce it. But we don't want to be involved into manufacturing, distribution, insurance, anything like that. We just want to produce open designs that have been tested by labs. So I think it could be interesting to have this conversation on whether you'd like to participate in different stages of this workflow or even designing the workflow. And for me, kind of the last important topic could be long-term support, because I've seen a lot of kind of different activities over time. But for me, one of the things I learned working with people in need is that you can't be there 1 week and then disappear. So I think the idea of having this ecosystem of different initiatives that can support the user needs and work with the users and share these kind of best practices could be super useful for the people that are participating and also for the final user.
That's a very good point. My personal opinion, so my 2 cents on this, is that it's really an open question, because even involving companies changed a lot the perspective of what you can do. Of course, a company has a different objective than a Fab Lab. It really means that they start to evaluate the return of the investment that they do, or if what you're doing it could overlap partially with some of their products. But I'm not saying that we shouldn't do that. I'm just saying that I'm not sure how, or how to involve company and scale up solutions without losing what was the original purpose of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something new also in our case. It's not something that has appeared before, but I think that with COVID, it has happened. So it has made Fab Lab reconsider, do we want to keep on providing face shields for 10 years? Is this our core business right now, production? Or, for example, in Bilbao, they were really fast and coordinated with 5 other companies just to connect makers with companies. So the Fab Lab was kind of the bridge. So I think there are a lot of different, but my final reflection on that is that all of you are coming from some places, have previous experiences, and know where you feel more comfortable. And I think the manifesto, even if it can be broad, it would help you a lot to think, where do we feel that we are providing the most? Is it in the manufacturing? Is it on the research? Is it in the connection with the users? Because I think that could be, it could help you not try to spread too thin and try to tackle too many things at the same time, but also could give you a kind of a position in all this ecosystem of supportive products.
I also think that my last comment on the topic, because I'd like to hear from the others, it really depends. I mean, the COVID case was a special one, hopefully unique. So production was important. In what Jeffrey was telling before, or even from other people, there are some areas in which just reproducing what exists but is not available is already a good result. And in other places, we are talking more about making people more independent, so improving the quality of life. And at that point, is very few projects, highly customized, that the company is not interested in. So I really think that I understand your point, and I agree that we should have a solid core with a clear position on this topic, that it's huge, and we shouldn't try to cover everything. And that's why this conversation is useful. I also think that I'm worried to bring a Eurocentric point of view in this, no, in which more or less the healthcare system works, so we can focus on special cases, investing a lot of time and effort. But that might not be the best or the only thing that we should focus on. And eventually, being capable of producing solutions besides designing them, even without a production system around you, could become critical. You know, it could become a very key aspect on this.
But just a shortly comment about exactly what you said, Cesar. The goal of the manifesto, of the FabCare manifesto, as we said, like it's an open group, it's very organic, and the idea is to make like this just little, let's say, guidelines in which we could have this, let's say, overlayer for the FabCare. And I think that sure, I think that after it could bring very matices, so like very, let's say, threats. But at the very beginning, I think that it's interesting to see, as for example, the Fab Labs, even therefore we put like the Fab Charter at the end, like guess that each Fab Lab has their own, let's say, projects and goals internally. But even we have, let's say, like a kind of a same line, and can also in a long term understand step by step how we could also do the best practice. Yeah, so maybe, I don't know if someone also wants to add something from the group. I don't know, Rafael, or who wants, Grace was also in my group. Jeffrey, would you want to share the comment, maybe, so that we can hear about what do you think?
Maybe in the coming time we can. Okay, sorry.
No, that's okay. No,
Jeffrey,
I just we were, you know, when we were on the topic of you know, partnering with you know, possible commercial ventures, and I just, you know, I really feel that one advantage that this community has, and the work that's typically done in a and again, I don't have any experience with you know, with FabCare and exactly how they do what they do, but you know, we can be in a position of working more directly and with the need, and so coming up with solutions that typically, you know, do come out of Fab Labs that are sustainable, you know, working with, you know, materials that are simpler than the typical you know, medical device companies and how they're thinking. And I you know, again, I'm coming from the you know, developing world perspective of you know, solutions that are that can be more affordable, even if the Fab Lab, even if the design of a Fab Lab gets you know, actually implemented en masse by a commercial venture, that the solutions could and would tend to be you know, more sustainable, more affordable.
So I see that people are leaving, so just a quick comment. We have the Fab group. It's really at the beginning of the FabCare group. I will share it again. So just to stay in touch, see the updates, and have the possibility to contribute to the manifesto or other stories, or get access to the resources that we will share along the way, just subscribe. It could be the best way to stay in contact. I didn't want to interrupt the conversation, but I saw people that had to leave, and I didn't want to lose the opportunity to invite you again on this.
I mean, the final idea of this session was to really write like kind of a manifesto. Therefore, we had like this second part of sorting cards, and after start to clusterize and write it. But I think that we have only just 15 minutes, and maybe yes. So we are on at the end of the day. So if you like, what we could do is, if you don't mind, you can also leave your email or join through the website, through the group in Wikifactory. So what we will try is to, we will update also these post-its, let's say, and try to write this manifesto and share with you. Let's say that's not only Enrico, Emilio, and me, it's all of you that we did together this. So we have the chance just to share with all and let's say modify, and if we are agree, so we will just publish it. If all of you are agree, you can just, yeah, take your hand.
It can be a draft. It can be a draft that you can start with. It's the first draft. Then we can have maybe like 2-3 draftings, and after that we can publish. Make you draft it, and like in the next week or like in this coming, maybe you like you share it with the community, and like now it will be more of a written sort of a draft. Like everybody can read through at their own time. They have some time to read it, and like maybe add in their own points, and like we can like go again to the next point, like maybe build on that.
Yeah.
I know many people has already gone, but if we can open our cameras for the final picture here that I'm documenting.
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh.
Yes, so we have tomorrow also a session, but it's about just only, of course, to share like the projects, what you did that also help us with, because the session of the meetup of FabCare was planning before. So anyways, it would be great if you want to share your projects, because that will give us an idea what you are doing, so that all of us can also hear about it. And also, why not also complement the idea, so in the manifesto, and yeah, also even if you like in the Wikifactory. Okay, so that's everything for today, and thank you so much for your input. As we said, that's the group for you and for all of us. So yeah, it was really a pleasure to hear all input, and we hope we can keep on working together. Enrico, if you want to add something, Daniel.
I sent the picture in the chat.
The chat. Yeah.
Okay. Bye bye. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
See you.
Thank you for hosting this. Thank you. See you soon. Take care.
See you.
Bye bye.
Or take
Bye-bye.
FabCare.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
I'm copying the chat as well. I don't know if we get it.
Yeah, I'm trying also to copy the chat that we don't miss also the emails and so on.
No, exactly. Let me see if I can send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Cool. How are you doing? You seem very tired.
I have a horrible headache. I'm sorry about that.
No, no worries. So
trying to stay focused, but it was painful.
Yeah, it looks like. No, go to rest. So I think that I guess that you move a lot of boxes, so you have now like.
Yeah. The only piece of furniture we have in the house is a couch.
I know.
That's what we left yesterday. It's gonna be like that for a while. But anyway, it's fine. Definitely, this week we fixed stuff. It's just a lot of things overlapping. But the session was good.
Yeah, I think that we have a good feedback from everyone, and they are very open.
And I think we can create even mentally some categories. What I mean is there is the how to say improve the quality of existing solutions, and it's the richest country approach in the end. And then there's create solution or make available solutions that are not available, but they exist already. So it's more on making and sharing. It's more on equipment. It's more on replicating existing projects, just open source. And that's another big topic. And I think it's important to include it even from the perspective of, cooperation with universities and so on. There could be a nice plan. I mean, if you know that a hospital in Malawi needs these 6, kind of equipment that is not available at the moment, those are pretty clear projects to develop. So it's definitely interesting. So it was very useful. We have to see if we can try to write down a draft of this before the end of the week. Oops. It's getting late. But yeah, it could be awesome.
Yeah, I think that also even the parts that at the end we came in these questions like, what is the focus? Do you want to do machines also that also support this process? Do you want to cooperate also? Like it is the focus of the projects, or even if it is the focus of the documentation, or even how we can compare it. Also, Cesar was also very involved on it. I was very happy that he also support, or let's say not only him, but let's say that they see also the vision of a long-term idea as the overlay that we are talking about. Yeah, I think that would be very useful if we try to start to writing and also open the document in which we can, I think that we can contribute each other, no? So
definitely. And well, Cesar is a great, brilliant person. So it could definitely be very useful to get him involved somehow.